Hello, everyone. This is the second part of the story, which will definitely give you goosebumps, even if you haven't watched the first part. Enjoy watching. It redirected me to an even stranger sight. It was some kind of pixelated game with a top-down view. My character looked like me? Dark gray pixelated walls surrounded me. In the room I found myself in, there was only a door leading to another room. I went into the other room, where there was a message on the floor. Are you ready to sacrifice everything for yourself? And two doors labeled yes and no. I chose the door marked yes. Upon entering, I saw the message. Who will you choose? There were also two doors with the options, mother and daughter. What kind of nonsense is this? I said aloud. I chose mother. As I entered the room, I saw another girl standing in the corner, slightly twitching. As I approached, I began to hear crying and some whispering. Getting closer, the crying became almost unbearable, and the whispering became decipherable. She kept repeating one word, fold. Suddenly, the crying and whispering stopped, and an eerie silence fell. It seemed like the site had frozen, but after a second, I heard the sound of breaking bones from the speakers, and the head of the girl standing in front of me began to slowly turn toward me. A chill ran down my spine, and an unknown panic washed over me. When her head fully turned, religious words started appearing on the screen, but they seemed distorted. Instead of God, there was something called the folded, and all the other words took on terrifying meanings. Suddenly, the screen went black, and only the sound of cracking bones and soft female weeping could be heard. For a few more seconds, I sat there trying to process everything that had happened. I attempted to restart the computer, but nothing worked. There were no signs of life. Damn it. This is what you get for clicking on random links, I thought. All this time, I couldn't shake off the feeling that someone was watching me. Looking at the screen, I saw someone standing behind me in the hallway. Fear pierced through me. Everything went silent in the speakers. I stared at the uninvited guest for what felt like an eternity while it stared back at me. After some time, I made a desperate decision and looked back. There was no one there. I turned back to face the screen, and I froze in horror. That thing was already standing in the doorway. I couldn't breathe. A primal fear gripped me. What was in the hallway was now at the entrance to my room. It looked like a tall woman with dirty hair, as if she had crawled out of a grave. Her face was obscured by long, filthy hair. She wore tattered rags. Her arms looked like branches, thin and bony. Her fingers were even thinner. Some phalanges were fused together, resembling spider webs. Her head was unnaturally tilted to one side. It seemed like it would fall off at any moment. The speakers began to emit whispering sounds. I stared at her while she stared back at me. Could this even be called feminine? I felt like I was about to scream at the top of my lungs, but my scream got stuck in my throat. All I could produce was a rasp like that of a person suffering from tuberculosis. At that moment, I thought we would stare at each other for eternity, but she started to move. I thought she was getting bigger, but damn it, she began to hover above the ground. I can't express the feelings I had when she started to slowly approach me. Panic was rising, and the desire to turn around became unbearable. I wanted to, but I couldn't. Fear had paralyzed me. She was slowly coming closer, and a tear involuntarily rolled down my cheek. With every second, I wanted to scream louder and louder, but I couldn't. There she was, standing right behind me. I could feel her heavy breath. Her hands reached out toward my head. They completely enveloped my head, and I heard her voice saying, "Fold." Over and over again, she repeated that phrase. It became hard for me to breathe. and my head began to turn in the opposite direction. The pain was becoming more and more intense. Just as she was about to snap my neck, I heard the front door opening. As soon as the door opened, the creature vanished. I couldn't take it anymore and screamed at the top of my lungs. I screamed so loudly that my ears started ringing, and a few seconds later, I passed out. I woke up already in my bed. It was dark outside. Only raindrops were hitting the window. I sat on the bed trying to remember what had happened, but I couldn't recall anything. Damn, my head is pounding. I can't think at all, I said aloud. I got out of bed and went to my mother's room. As soon as I stepped into the hallway, the door opened immediately, and my mom appeared, asking me what had happened. When I responded with something like, "I don't remember, I don't know," she wished me good night, checked my forehead for a fever, and went to bed. I took her advice and went back to my room. Closing the door behind me, I lay down on the bed and fell asleep. To be continued in the second part, out tomorrow. Subscribe.